Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
I'm getting joined by Ellie Granderson. She's going to put a feminine scope on these lace kerchief starbuggers and give us her lady opinion. Ellie?
Hi, Joe.
You know, it riles me up every time you walk in here, Ellie. You set my blood to dancing with all your pillowy parts.
Oh, stop it, Joe.
Now give it to me, no fimble famble, Ellie. When we start dusting these rocket boys' lily white bottoms with baby puff?
Joe, since the end of the Cold War, NASA has basically functioned as a giveaway to the American aerospace industry, wasting trillions of taxpayer dollars every year on extravagant programs with no tangible benefit.
Finds a plum to look at, all the sense of a badger to boot.
Joe.
Now I've been thinking on, I got these three little chickens pecking on my head, will save NASA some coin. Man wants to go to space, can strap on the helmet, climb in the cannon, let the Chinese gunpowder carry him off among the stars. He'll come back now. Gonna skin a fox in one throat, and you're gonna fancy on it.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited here to join us. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms. They're open and available to you on our Discord server at discord.lrn.fm. As we continue to broadcast to you every single day, we talk about the ideas of freedom and sometimes what's in the news. And, of course, what has been dominating the headlines recently has been the recent shootings. And I know Dave, Silver Dave, has some comments on those. Welcome, Silver Dave.
Thanks for having me in.
My pleasure. I think Johnson is actually on his way in. He called me from the parking lot, which is normally just a house driveway, but there's actually a bunch of construction outside, so it's actually hard to get to at the moment. So he's on his way in. And let's see. Oh, so in the news, 8chan apparently did lose its hosting, or not hosting, but its Cloudflare. I don't know, Dave, if you're familiar with the Cloudflare service.
I'm not familiar with Cloudflare, no.
You'll see it pop up on like a website. If you're trying to go to a website and the site is down, there'll frequently be a Cloudflare error that comes up. So like it won't be a completely blank page. It'll be an error from Cloudflare that explains that the site in question is no longer available. And so what Cloudflare does is it's a system that that website webmasters can hire. And actually, I think they may still offer a free service. I know a long time ago when they were first getting started, they did a free service, and it was a little buggy, so I tried it for a while, and then I dropped the service. But a lot of major websites use Cloudflare, and what Cloudflare basically does is it provides websites protections against certain types of attacks. So denial of service attacks or other types of online attacks. Cloudflare does that. It distributes the content of the site to different servers around the planet. So if one path to the site is down, it can kind of pick it up at other locations around the planet. So it sort of distributes the site. They do some pretty useful things, and that's why the folks over at 8chan were utilizing Cloudflare until apparently yesterday, according to NBCNews.com. A handful of companies that provide crucial internet services have announced they will not work with the anonymous online forum 8chan and or other companies that work with it in the wake of a shooting in El Paso in which at least 22 people were killed. And so this is as a result of people contacting Cloudflare and saying, hey, we don't think that you should work with these people because 8chan is basically an internet S show. It's a bunch of, angry young males, many of them. I don't know if all of them are. I don't spend really much time there. I know the site exists, but honestly, I couldn't tell you whether it's 8chan.org or 8chan.com. I don't even know what the URL is of it. Maybe I can pull that up here and see if they've gotten back online since Cloudflare took them down. Looks like it is. Oh, yeah, I was wrong. It's 8ch.net. And I'll let you know if the site's back online. But as of yesterday, Cloudflare took them off. Now, that doesn't mean the site itself would necessarily go away. It just means it would no longer have the Cloudflare protection on the site and would therefore be more perhaps likely to be taken down by a cyber attack of some sort. Cloudflare provides a variety of internet services, including protection against common cyber attacks, said that they plan to cease doing business with 8chan after the alleged gunman had posted his racist screed to the website. Cloudflare CEO Matthew Prince wrote in a blog post that his company was dropping 8chan, which the Anti-Defamation League has tied to the rise of online extremism after gunmen in Christchurch, New Zealand, and Poway, California, also used the site. So basically, you've got 3 of this year's gunmen, the most recent ones, some of the most recent shootings on the planet, used 8chan. And did they use it to plan their attacks? No, but they hung out there, basically. And it's kind of like an online message board where anybody can go, and essentially it's unmoderated or very, very near unmoderated. There's very little that will get you dropped off of 8chan as far as if you're a user of the site. And that's, was the purpose of the site. That's the reason why it was put up in the first place, was to give people who are not wanted in any other online community a place that they could kind of call their own.
Where everybody knows your name.
Yeah. So it's like the kind of the dregs of the internet, basically. It's where people who are complete pariahs, wherever it is they've come from, will hang out. At least that's as I understand it. That's the way it's been, explained over the last few days. And so now Cloudflare's dropping them. Quote, "The rationale is simple. They have proven themselves to be lawless, and that lawlessness has caused multiple tragic deaths," said Prince. That's, again, the CloudShare CEO of the decision. He said further, quote, "Even if 8chan may not have violated the letter of the law in refusing to moderate their hate-filled community, they have created an environment that revels in violating its spirit." And it's true, or at least, if somebody's on your message forum and they're cheering on mass murder, well, that's not illegal. It's, at least in the United States, it's not illegal to cheer on somebody committing a crime. It's tacky. It's distasteful.
But they kind of can get you because they can say conspiracy if someone does get murdered and you encouraged it. I'm pretty sure that they can charge you with some kind of a complicity crime.
Well, I don't know.
In some kind of roundabout way.
I mean, they can certainly charge you with whatever it is they want to charge you.
I've at least seen it on Law & Order once or twice.
And conspiracy is a pretty nebulous kind of charge that, in my opinion, probably shouldn't exist at all. But you're right. I mean, they can definitely charge anybody they want with anything. But if you're just excited by watching people's demise, that's not the same thing as conspiring to make it happen. If somebody posts a post that that revels in somebody's death, that doesn't necessarily mean they're plotting the next killing. So I think they would have a tough time in getting those charges to stick. But that's not to say
they'll drag you through the mud along the way while the quote judicial system figures it out.
Sure. Well, also, it will be hard to figure out who the users are because 8chan is not hosted inside the United States, as I understand it. At least from what I understand, the founder is based in the Philippines. He's a former American military guy who's based in the Philippines. And so I presume that means he's probably smart enough to not actually host the site inside the United States. So the federal government would have a limited access as far as trying to get information out of the site, like, oh, well, who's user number 1479? Because they're all anonymous, right? Like there's no there aren't any accounts, as I understand it, with these sites. And if they are, then they don't require any identification or real names or anything like that. So in order for the government to get IP address information about users of the site, they would have to somehow subpoena the site's owner, but he's in the Philippines. So how do you subpoena somebody that doesn't live inside the United States jurisdiction?
Probably be pretty hard.
Yeah. The message board suffered intermittent outages on Monday morning after Cloudflare cut its services. And right now, I am unable to reach 8ch.net, so they are still down. The message board on Monday, Voxility, another internet services company, said it would cease working with 8chan. Voxility banned their host Epic from its platform, effectively cutting off other hate sites that also use Epic's services. Now, I don't know what Voxility does, but they're cutting them off. In El Paso, investigators are reasonably confident the suspect in the shooting, Patrick Crusius, posted the anti-immigrant screed on the site shortly before the shooting, which we did read most of it here on the air. We read the first basically 3 pages of the 4-page long manifesto, and essentially in that manifesto, he made it pretty clear that he is a total arch statist who has embraced some of the worst from the right and some of the worst from the left to combine together into a total statist platform of murder. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We got more on the way here. Plus, Dave is questioning reality itself when it comes to the shootings. We'll get into it. It's on the way.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Do you wish you made more money or the same money on less hours? Do you wish you could do whatever you wanted in your dating or relationship life? Do you wish you could go wherever you wanted, whenever you wanted? There's another way to live. I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income, location-independent businesses and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Silver Dave.
And we've also got the Discord call-in line rooms. They're available to you at discord.lrn.fm. Hop into one of those. You get on the air with us and sound almost like you are sitting here in the studio with us. By the way, I want to make sure that you know if you've got a local business that you want to accept cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Dash, Zcash, Bitcoin Cash, and several other cryptos at the point of sale at your cash register, then get on over to helpmetakebitcoin.com because they've made it super easy. Like, way easier than you think it's going to be. If you've never even been involved in cryptocurrency before, they'll take you through all the steps. It's super simple. Within moments from going to helpmetakebitcoin.com, you'll be able to accept Bitcoin and a bunch of other cryptos. Helpmetakebitcoin.com. They've got apps available for iOS and Android devices. Plus, you can just use a plain old web browser if you need to. Helpmetakebitcoin.com. We go to your calls and thoughts. More on the shootings. Dave's got himself a conspiracy theory, or at least he's questioning things. We'll get into it. But a different Dave is on the line. This one's in Colorado. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live. Hello? Dave in Colorado?
These vetoes in New Hampshire, have we?
I hear you now. What now? Say again?
We have not talked yet about all these vetoes in New Hampshire, have we?
I mean, I don't know about all of these vetoes. So, I mean, I know that the governor in New Hampshire did veto the death penalty repeal, and luckily the State House overturned that veto. So that's one of the more noteworthy ones. What were some of the ones you wanted to mention?
It's actually the aggregate that's interesting. I guess the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is reporting that he's already vetoed 40 bills this year, or maybe this session, and he's expected to veto more.
Well, that's great news, I think. I mean, generally I support not passing laws, so if he's going to veto a bunch of them, then good.
Yeah, constructive gridlock.
Cool. So was there anything in particular? I mean, I expect that he's going to be vetoing the anti-gun legislation that the Democrats have passed.
Yep, it looks like he's vetoing a lot of that, and he apparently vetoed. There was an attempt at passing a tax on wages. There's never been one in New Hampshire. There's never been an income tax. I guess he I think vetoed that. I think that's going to go down in flames, as I understand it. And I guess NHPR is reporting that actually the number is up to 44, and it's a record. Like he set a record for the most number of vetoes in the state that's ever happened in one.
Wow.
Either in one session or in 1 year. I'm not sure which.
Good to know. Anything else, Dave?
There was something else. I can't remember what it is, so I better let you go.
Thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate it. That's
Thanks,
Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com. He's always following things pretty closely as far as what's going on here in New Hampshire, and I'm grateful that there are people out there like him that are doing that, because it's hard to keep track of everything. It's hard to keep track of you in just a little bit.
I didn't even realize that was Dave Ridley.
Yep. Yeah, that was him. Every now and then he goes out to visit family in Colorado, which is why he was calling from Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to join us here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's Ian and Silver Dave here in the studio. We can talk more about the most recent slaughters that have occurred.
Well, speaking of shootings, I want to take a moment here and just quickly talk about gun control, and just say
Meaning
that,
like, aim at your target.
Yeah. I was, if you're looking for more gun control, maybe I could suggest using two hands.
That's a good idea.
And also something a little about
don't point at something you don't intend to kill.
Don't pull a trigger. You want to squeeze
slowly.
Slowly. Yeah. You want to squeeze. You want to just let that hammer fall. And you don't really want to pull
because if you pull, then it jerks the gun, and
exactly
you're going to
miss your target. Good gun control. You really want to hit. You really want to hit your target, and have good consistency. Mm-hmm. And that's why gun control is really important. And people say, "Well, Dave, how do you feel about gun control?" I say, I really am an advocate for really, really tight gun control. Control. Point of impact really close together. Should look like one hole. 5 rounds.
On the target.
It should look like, you shoot a bunch of rounds. It should look like just one hole. But all joking aside, Ian, I'm not so sure that I believe that these shootings are what they purport to be.
All right. I want to know what you mean by that, because we had somebody call in and, drag out the old claim of, it's a fake shooting. It didn't really happen. Sandy Hook is fake. This ridiculous conspiracy theory that is just it seems insane.
Now hold on. Now,
is that what you're saying here?
Not exactly. Okay. Here's the thing. Wise man knows he knows very little.
Fair enough.
All right. So I'm not trying to say that I know anything. In fact, I could only say that I know that I don't know. However, I am skeptical that the story is not exactly as it's reported in the mainstream.
That's probably true. I mean, the mainstream media screws up a lot of stuff. Whenever they do any report on anything, it's guaranteed to be mistakes. But that's just kind of, humans. They screw things up.
But they're also owned by some very powerful entities that I believe control a lot. And they have goals and they have intentions. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm in question of, and if you're out there listening, I'd be interested to hear, you should call us and tell us what you think if you have a theory. But I'm really wondering if these shootings are somehow concocted. And what I mean is not that they didn't happen or that bullets weren't necessarily fired. I'm not saying they were either. I'm really not sure. And not to say that people weren't killed or were, I don't know. But I feel like there's an agenda to disarm Americans. I really think that this agenda exists. And I think governments are always trying to do that. And, I feel like historically, when people have been disarmed, the things that follow are usually really bad.
Sure.
And like Nazi Germany. Yeah. In fact, just kind of tell a little story, since we're just here, about my grandfather and his sisters, my Aunt Anne. So my grandfather was Polish, and the Nazis came in and they were killing, and I come from a Jewish family too. So most of his brothers and sisters were killed. And so I have his memoirs. Him and my grandmother wrote about all the things that happened to them. And as a side note, that's something I actually want to have published someday. But so my Aunt Anne, she lived to be 102. She had no toes. And the story of her toes is that she was being marched by the Nazis. It was a death march that they were being
Hold that thought. We'll continue the rest of the story here of what happened to your Aunt's toes?
Anne's toes?
On the way here. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I don't think it's going to be anything good. That's for sure.
Depends on how you define good, but probably not.
We'll get into it. And your calls and thoughts are welcome. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. You can join us here. It is Free Talk Live.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you may take control of the airwaves here if you want to join us on the radio. Our number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Is everything as it seems with these mass shootings? Silver Dave is saying maybe not. And we can continue here with, of course, your calls and thoughts. Welcome, 855-450-FREE. By the way, Free Talk Live brought to you by Liberty.menu. It is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. If that describes you, then you ought to be over there at liberty.menu, where you can list the things that you do. Maybe you've got a business. Maybe you've got a digital content of some sort that you create. Perhaps you're an events coordinator for some kind of liberty-friendly event, and you want people to know about it. Get over to liberty.menu and list your things there that you do. You get map positions, little map pointers, and details and photos, and you can upgrade if you want, but it's free by default over at liberty.menu. You can use code FTL, get a Free Talk Live listener badge on your user profile. That's liberty.menu. It's Ian and Silver Dave in the studio here tonight. Silver Dave, you were telling us a story about your aunt.
That's right, my Aunt Anne.
Who was in Nazi Germany?
She was Polish.
Polish, okay.
So was my grandfather, and they were Polish, and the Nazis invaded Poland, and they were looking for the Jews, and so they had captured, my Aunt Anne and her sister and her sister's baby. So anyway, to go on and talk a little about what happens when you get disarmed and what the government usually does to people after they disarm them, and why they disarm people, in my opinion, so that they can make it easier to do these kinds of things. Well, so my Aunt Anne and her sister's baby are being death marched to a concentration camp, and the Nazis are marching them. It's the winter time, and they had makeshift shoes because the Nazis took the shoes. If you had valuable shoes, they took your shoes. They took things that you had of value, your jewelry. Once you got to the death camps, they would send you to the dentist, and they would check to see if you had any gold fillings
out,
because they'd rip them out of your mouth. And in a lot of cases, they weren't like, surgical about it. They, did them the fast and,
pair of pliers.
Yeah, the fast and economical way. I mean, can you imagine this, to you or your family?
It's brutal.
Anyway, so my Aunt Anne, they're marching, and it's the winter time, and so her sister, I forget her sister's name, but had a baby, and the baby was crying, and the baby kept crying, and the Nazis were really annoyed by this, and she's carrying the baby, and she was going slow, so when they got frustrated, they took the baby, they put the baby on the ground, and they just shot the baby right in the head, right in front of the mother.
Wow.
And so now the mother was, she was brokenhearted, and now she was not marching, and she's going slow. And so now they got frustrated with her, and they shot her in the head right in front of my Aunt Anne. And so my Aunt Anne, she ended up living to be 102. Well,
wow.
Of course, she was pretty brokenhearted, too, to watch her sister and her sister's little baby be killed by these guys. Well, they stopped one night to, sort of stop and, rest. Yeah. And she, people slept in whatever they could, and she fell asleep in some pile of hay. Well, somehow the Nazis went off, and they started marching again in the morning, and they didn't realize she wasn't with them. She had fallen asleep, and she hadn't woke up. Well, sometime in the morning, a local family found her in the hay, and she was, barely alive, and so they brought her in their house.
Close to frozen to death.
Right. And so they took care of her, and they, called a local doctor, and they didn't, tell anyone that they had found her,
right.
And they assumed she was obviously Jewish. Well, she ended up surviving, but she lost all of her toes from frostbite because she didn't have shoes. She had socks and some kind of makeshift footwear.
God.
Why am I talking about this? Well, I'm talking about this because if, in my opinion, if these folks had firearms, it would have been a lot harder to tell them you're going to walk. And it would have been a lot harder to capture them. And so armed people are a lot harder to capture. And before the Nazis, before they started exterminating the Jews, they disarmed the Jews. And it's not the only time in history.
Sure.
If you look at,
but isn't it true? I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you here at all. I agree that it's good to have people in a population have the freedom to bear arms for some of the reasons you're specifying, so they can resist a tyrannical government. There's no doubt about that. I mean, that would be arguably one of the main reasons why the Second Amendment exists in the Bill of Rights, is the Founding Fathers acknowledged that. But isn't it true, and I gotta admit I'm not a student of history here, but I had heard that many of, at the very least, the German Jews turned themselves in. So like, had they, even if they'd had, because they didn't know they were going to death camps at that point in time, that didn't come out until much later. So I don't know where they thought they were going to go, but they were doing their good citizenly duty to go and report where they were told to report, like into the inner cities.
Well, that's a great point. That's a great point. But here's the thing. Just like you said, it's difficult to predict the future. And sometimes, guys show up and they say, turn yourself in, or the punishment will be worse if you don't turn yourself in. And so they thought that if they didn't turn themselves in,
it would be worse.
They would be killed. So they said, okay, well, we better turn ourselves in because they're going to, they're just going to do something, but they probably didn't realize they were going to be digging their own graves.
No, I don't think
they did. And being buried in them.
I don't think they did. But that's the point. It's a twofold thing that you need, Dave. You need not only the right to bear arms, but you also need to have the will to resist. Because if you just do what you're told, then you'll turn in the guns when they say turn in the guns.
I agree.
If you do what you're told, then you'll jump through all the hoops that they tell you to jump through, including the hoops to your own demise eventually, even though you don't realize it. So at some point, people have to say, no, we're not going to do that. No, we're not going to participate. Kind of like in New Zealand, where they only had a very, very small portion of the gun owners this year turn in their guns when the New Zealand government was demanding that people turn in guns. There were a ton of gun owners who did not show up, who did not turn in their guns. Same thing was true in Connecticut when they did some gun confiscations there within the last couple of years after the Sandy Hook thing, where they changed the laws and they wanted everybody to come down and register their guns. Well, a bunch of people didn't. And so that's the important, to me, that's the most important part. Like, even if you didn't have guns and all you had was the will to resist, you'd still do better than the people who just turn themselves into the goons.
I agree with you. In fact, I would agree with you even more to say that the resistance is probably even more valuable than the guns.
Yeah.
Because the resistance, you can create weapons. And so you probably heard about things like nunchucks and staffs and things like that. And that stuff came from like old farmers learned that, they didn't have weapons like guns and things like that, but they needed to defend themselves. And so they practiced using like garden tools as weapons because they wouldn't strip, the powers that be would not strip them of, their garden tools. So they practiced using like a sickle and things like that as weapons, which is a really valuable point that, those things can make very good weapons. And even firearms are really not that useful for defense in crowded areas. So like a lot of people talk about, gun owners. Well, if there's a shooter in a public crowded place, another shooter trying to neutralize that person may create additional collateral damage.
Sure.
Because it's tough to shoot the guy without shooting the people in the backdrop.
Dangerous.
So and guns aren't always the best weapon, but having the resistance and being armed sure does help to be armed. And
no doubt.
And
that'll give them a second. It'll give them something to think about, right? Like if your population who's willing to refuse to obey is also armed, that's going to make things way more difficult on whatever occupying force we're talking about, whether it be your local state government or the federal government or some foreign occupying force. They definitely don't want to go up against somebody who's armed. There's no doubt about it. On the other, and by the same token, if the people are not they're not doing what they're told to do, they're not jumping through the hoops, it's really, that screws their entire plan up. Because even though we know this government isn't voluntary in that they won't let you opt out, so we know they're not voluntary, but we know that to some extent, if people didn't just go along to get along, it would be near to impossible for the government to achieve whatever goal it has set out for itself. We can continue. You can share your thoughts with us here. This is Free Talk Live.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
If you feel you've been lied to, pressured, or misled into buying your timeshare, you have the right to cancel completely. This is Steve Sanchez, and I'd like to introduce you to Wesley Financial Group, the leading top-rated timeshare cancellation company in the country. That's right, no more excessive fees or lifetime commitments that make you feel like you're serving a prison sentence. Founded by CEO Chuck McDowell, a pioneer in the industry who went into federal court and won against the largest timeshare resort company in the world just to help you get out of your timeshare. Too good to be true? No. Countless testimonials and the highest ratings from the Better Business Bureau make Wesley Financial Group the real deal, and their money-back guarantee they put in writing makes them the Steve Sanchez choice for successfully canceling your timeshare guaranteed. To get their free information kit, call 1-800-475-1919. That's 1-800-475-1919, or visit them at timesharecancellations.com. That's 1-800-475-1919.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. Our number, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about obedience and being armed. And these are the two most important, I think, two of the most important factors as to whether or not you're going to be ruled and to what extent you will be ruled. It's Ian and Silver Dave in the studio here tonight. And I do want to say thank you to Nahor, who is a Free Talk Live Silver Amplifier. And that means that Nahor is contributing $5 per month to the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And you can join the AMP program over at amp.freetalklive.com. It's a way for you to get behind what we do here, to show that you appreciate Free Talk Live, the fact that we're on all 7 nights a week, that we are live across an entire week, over 200 radio stations from coast to coast and beyond. We're talking about the ideas of freedom and peace and liberty and cryptocurrency every single night here on Free Talk Live. So if that's valuable to you, if you think it's worth, the price of a fancy cup of coffee every month, please join the AMP program. You can use PayPal. You can also use credit card as well as Bitcoin BTC over at amp.freetalklive.com. That's ampamp.freetalklive.com. So, Dave, we were just expressing, I think, a very similar sentiment, and that is that people need to learn to say no.
Yeah, I mean, what's so funny is that freedom, and I mean freedom, like, instead of having to give people argue all the time about how much money they really pay into the system for services that they really want. And the government wastes so much money. Like, do you really want to spend your money killing farmers in Afghanistan?
No.
And but giving half your money, I feel like most of your money goes into the taxes if you really calculated all the costs of things. But some people would say, no, it's only, income tax and property tax and it's 50%. But back to the point, you could keep all your money. You could do what you want. You could live, you could love, you could live your life. And we could have it tomorrow.
Sure.
Tomorrow, real freedom. If everyone, and we didn't need everyone, just need even just
10% would be
10%,
crushing.
25%, just like a tenth or 2/10 of the people. If we were all just going to say, you know what, we're going to say no, and we're really going to mean it, and we stood up for each other, tomorrow we'd have freedom. We could have it. It's so close. It's just so easy if we just said no.
Is it easy or is it simple? Because there's a difference.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it's
simple, but not
simple.
necessarily easy.
And the reason why it's not easy is because everybody's afraid of going first. If I go first, then they're going to cut my head off and, put it on a spike so people know to not say no, and they're going to punish you if you say no.
And that's a great point. And that brings me to confidence that it would really work. If, for example, you knew that when you said no, you knew that your guy to your left and your right were going to say no. Also, you knew that it was really going to work. You would do it, right? Like, if you knew it was going to work.
I would hope they would.
Yeah, but people don't want to do it because they feel like it's not going to work, and they're just going to be the guy that says no, and then they're going to get hung, or they're going to get put in jail. So no one wants to do it because they don't have the confidence that we could really resist and really stop the tyrannical oppression that is. And that is a major, major problem. And it makes me think of, I hate to use this example of a Facebook meme, but just a few days ago, I'm looking at Facebook and a meme goes by from this sort of, liberty-minded guy posts, and he says, it's like a little cartoon drawing, and it says, who here loves their children? And it shows all these people raising their hand. And then the next picture says, who here will disobey laws that harm their children? And everyone bows their head in shame and they have their hands down. Because even things that will harm their children that they, quote, love, they're scared of the system. And I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that they're bad. It is scary. It does kill people. And
it does take children from families.
It takes children away. It murders people. It tortures people.
That's why you'll see a lot of activists basically drop off the radar as soon as they have children. Because then, all of a sudden, there's more risk involved, or at least they feel like their child is at risk. And they're like, well, I love activism, but I don't want to rock the boat and have the Department of Children and Families come take my kid from me. So then they just don't do anything. Or they stay completely behind the scenes and are, not as impactful as they could be. But, it's just frustrating, Dave, because there is risk involved if you want to achieve freedom. You do have to put something on the line. It does, freedom ain't free, like they say.
That's right.
And that's because there are a bunch of people out there that don't want you to be free. And they're going to fight tooth and nail. They're not just going to, tomorrow, if 25% of people, as you suggested, refused whatever government demands came at them, whether it be a court order or a business license or whatever it is we're talking about. If 25% of them refused, well, there's still a bunch of people around who might turn them in, because you can't trust all your neighbors to not be arch statists who are aligned with the governments and what the governments want.
And they'll definitely turn you in to save their own hide, no doubt. But that's where, just thinking about this is a really interesting subject to me because, like many people, I really like the idea of freedom. A lot of people have a misconception of what freedom is. They feel like freedom is, voluntarily agreeing to be oppressed. I'm going to say that in a weird way. But
I think Rudy Giuliani said obedience is freedom.
Yeah,
I think he said
like that. Yeah, but so thinking about these numbers, instead of having, 10 or 25%, because that takes a lot, of course, to get that many people to really disobey. I feel like the numbers could be a lot smaller if people were geographically centralized.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to get people to pick up their lives and move. I mean, it's been a real challenge to get even libertarians who purportedly care about freedom to pick up and migrate here to New Hampshire. You and I have, Dave.
And I was in the Army, and I had gone to a lot of different countries and a lot of different places, and I would just watch the most ridiculous things the government was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that I just couldn't do it anymore. And so I had to say, I'm not going to do this job anymore. I had to walk away from, from a lot that I had built up in a military career. And I came to New Hampshire because I heard about this Free State project, and there was this movement going on there. And I thought that everyone was like in one place. There was this like super village of like liberty. But the problem with it was everyone was split up in all these different places. And so you kind of got there, and it was like the same as every other place, except that, speckled all around.
Right.
So I have this idea in my mind that if you could get people to come to, more of a centralized place where there was people that were really into liberty and they were
You're
really
talking about
close
someplace
together.
smaller than New Hampshire. You mean like
Smaller,
a town,
like a town
or a neighborhood.
That's right.
Mhm.
Because here's the thing. If you, for example, a neighborhood or a town's a great example.
Street.
Because
Yeah.
a town is big enough that if they like firebombed the whole town, it would be hard to cover that up.
Right.
On the other hand, it's small enough that you could actually fill a town with like liberty-minded people. And I mean, like, I just speculate that if you could get one town, whether it's Keene or some town where you could get, the majority of people to come to that town and really mean individual liberty. I mean, like, everything is voluntary. And they would come there and they would say no. And they really meant it. And they really stood up for each other. And I feel like that would really build that momentum.
I think it could, though there was something years ago, like, I don't know, 15 years ago, toward the very beginning of the Free State Project, somebody cooked up the idea of the Freetown Project. Have you ever heard of this?
No, but
Okay.
I love it.
So they chose Grafton as the destination. That's a little town here in not quite to the North Country, but northern-ish.
I almost moved to Grafton.
Central-ish.
It was there was like no police there.
It's very remote.
But
I
that's
think they
the
have a
problem
police chief. I think that's all they got, though.
Maybe, but it was very limited.
Yeah.
But then they didn't have the infrastructure. That was the problem I found.
Like no
is there's-
internet.
Yeah, there was like no internet. There was no buildings. You had to like build your own tool shed, like you lived in like a.
Well, that's part of the trade-off, of course. In the places where there's very little government. In the places where there's a lot built up, there tends to be more government around. But anyway, what happened with the Freetown Project concept was it didn't pan out. The people who were the primary organizers of it were too loud and obnoxious about what they had planned to do. So they made like a big deal about the Freetown Project, and guess what? The townspeople found out about it, and there was a major pushback by many of the people who lived in the town. They felt like they were going to be infiltrated. They felt like they were going to be invaded by the Freetowners. There's more coming up here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. So, there's kind of like the quiet route of quietly infiltrating, and then there's the big pay attention to us kind of route, and that route didn't seem to work real well for the Freetown Project. Hour 2's coming up.
She's such a beautiful little puppy. I mean, we walk around the block, and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy. DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people
starting their puppies on Dynavite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies,
grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it.
and the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dynavite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic
and Cindy Lukasevic,
inviting you and your pets to Dynavite.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,473, silver at $16.48, and Bitcoin is trading around $11,641. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, U.S. stocks tumbled Monday on the heels of news that China is devaluing its currency in response to President Donald Trump's tariff war. The Dow Jones Industrial Average posted a loss of 767 points by the close of business, as world markets also fell to the news that the Chinese yuan was reduced to its lowest valuation in a decade. The move came after Trump announced tariffs last week on $300 billion in Chinese goods. According to a report from NPR, the decline makes Chinese imports in the United States less expensive, thus making U.S. companies less competitive. It also lowers profits for U.S. companies that do business in China. Trump took to Twitter to vent his frustrations on Monday, saying, quote, China dropped the price of their currency to an almost historic low. It's called currency manipulation. Are you listening, Federal Reserve? This is a major violation which will greatly weaken China over time. End quote. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Millions of Americans across the Midwest this summer are being subjected to surveillance from above as the Pentagon experiments with the use of surveillance radars attached to high-altitude balloons. As The Guardian reported on Friday, the defense and aerospace contractor Sierra Nevada Corporation was authorized by the Federal Communications Commission to send up to 25 balloons across 6 states to track vehicles. U.S. Southern Command commissioned the project for the stated purpose of creating a persistent surveillance system to deter drug traffickers and perceived homeland security threats. Activist Post reports that civil liberties advocates are distressed that the newly reported project, which the Sierra Nevada Corporation obtained a license to begin on July 12th, and end September 1st. The balloons are being sent from South Dakota through portions of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri, and Illinois. Their high-tech radars are able to simultaneously track many vehicles at once on a 25-mile swath beneath the balloon. National Security Agency whistleblower Edward Snowden wants to fight back against corporate surveillance by Instagram and his parent company Facebook, as well as YouTube, which is owned by Google. Activist Post reports that in a tweet rant posted on Twitter, Snowden expressed that both social media giants, owned by Mark Zuckerberg, were involved in spying on their users, as well as YouTube. Snowden also announced that he has created new accounts on the platforms and that he will explain how the sites spy on users. He added that he would, quote, explain methods to limit how much they know about you, end quote, if you choose to use them. Earlier, Snowden announced a new forthcoming memoir called Permanent Record, due out in September, which will tell all of his secrets. Snowden has also released a YouTube ad for the book. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
My fellow sheep, election season is upon us. Are you one of the 12% of Americans who still approves of our government? Then we need your help to force the other 88% into compliance. Our democracy depends on it. We're an organization called Citizens Against Too Much Unfettered Freedom, or CATMUF. CATMUF is a bipartisan flock of sheep whose goal is expanding government until nothing else remains. Because the government is here to help you. How can you help CATMUF help you? By only voting for candidates dedicated to expanding government. It's easy. You don't need to study the issues. No matter what a politician says when running for office, they're all dedicated to expanding government. And make sure you tell all your friends and family to vote for more government. Here at CATMUF, we don't care if you vote Democrat or Republican, as long as you vote for candidates committed to growing our federal family. CATMUF. Because folks just aren't smart enough to handle real freedom.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We are launching into the second hour of the program. Here, as always, you're invited to join us. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm, so feel free to hop into one of those. And with you tonight, it's Ian.
Silver Dave.
Dave, you and I were talking about concentrating activism in one place. Obviously, we know that the migration to New Hampshire has been going on for libertarians for now well over a decade and a half at this point. And it has been arguably successful. I will argue that it has been a success because there have been just a number of countless successful libertarian activism, whether it be people getting elected to office or civil disobedience that had an effect that sort of reverberated outside of New Hampshire, like the old 420s that happened here in Keene. That's almost a decade ago now. So there's been so many examples of just wonderful successes. We've most recently become crypto mecca here in Keene and also in Portsmouth, where we've got two very heavy crypto accepting cities, and that's all because of the concentration of activism in these places. But as you pointed out, it's still spread out. Like, across New Hampshire, there's a few thousand. I think I heard that the Free State Project now counts 4,000 as the number of people who have moved here. Of course, they don't keep a good close track of the number of people who've left. So, maybe 1,000 or two of them have left over the last decade. I don't know. It's hard to really say. A number of people have left. I can think of dozens just from this area alone.
Definitely.
Who are no longer with us. And I know that they leave from other areas of New Hampshire too. But I would say that despite, all of the difficulties that we've seen, we've had tremendous success, especially when compared to the rest of the libertarian movement, just in general. I mean, the New Hampshire successes have overwhelmed, I would say, the other 49 states combined over the last 40 years. Even if you just look alone at political successes, we've had far more. So from that perspective, it's a win. Does that mean that the government has reversed direction? No, it hasn't.
I mean, the thing is that I agree with you that there has been some success in New Hampshire, and more so in New Hampshire than other places I can think of.
Right.
Not that I necessarily know, because I'm not in other places, or there may be some niche group somewhere that's really hardcore. But the reason we got on this subject, I think, was we were talking about the shootings, and the reason that I want to connect these things is that I'm not sure how, but I think that these shootings are awfully convenient for the powers that be that want to disarm people. And I feel like they are becoming more successful because now they're getting people to cry out to disarm themselves. They didn't do a shooting, but somehow the people who didn't do anything wrong are the ones that are being, potentially disarmed. And the reason this whole thing is that the longer that people wait to actually resist, the harder it will become. And I feel like
that's true.
When should we do it? Like when everyone's disarmed, is that when we're going to be like, okay, well, now that we have even less ability to resist, is that when we will resist? And I realize it's hard, but are we going to do it? Are we going to resist these guys, or are we going to just let them take it to even new levels? Is this going to become like the Matrix, where eventually everyone's just going to be in a pod producing energy for the system, being plugged into their mind, some false reality?
Yeah, it's not going to a good place. I mean, that's for sure. Whatever it is that they've got planned is not going to be good. It's not going to be freedom, and we're not going in a more free direction nationwide or even worldwide. But I do agree with you that if you concentrate enough people in one place who are not only willing to do something, but also willing to refuse to do what they're told, then you can bring the system to basically a grinding halt. I mean, we almost single-handedly stopped the issuance of parking tickets here in Keene, New Hampshire, in about a one-year time frame with what was called Robin Hood of Keene, where it only was maybe a handful of activists, maybe 5 to 8 activists who were sort of coordinated by one activist who kind of set a schedule and kind of was the sort of the managerial or organizational component of the thing, and said, all right, well, Garrett, you go out from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then Mariah, you can go out from 1 to 5, and we'll cover every single day of the week, and we'll stop parking tickets from being written. And we basically shut down a good portion of their ability to write parking tickets with just a dedicated crew of like half a dozen. So, I mean, there's a lot that can be done, but it takes time, it takes effort, it takes dedicated, stick-to-itiveness, and I don't know if we could pull that off these days because, well, nowadays everybody's working, they got a job, they're more productive, so they don't have a few hours a day that they can go out and do the Robin Hooding and stop tickets from being written. But that's where having more people can come into handy, where if you had more than a half a dozen, if instead you had 60 or 600 or something like that instead of just 6, then a lot more becomes possible. But as one of our chat room participants pointed out here, who was involved in the original Freetown Project founding, you can't herd cats very effectively.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge.
That's the challenge, because the people that we're looking for are people who don't want to be led. But we want to lead them to not being led. It's very, very difficult.
Yeah. Well, if you can get enough libertarians to migrate somewhere, I think they're going to have an impact, just because they're going to be in people's lives more often. So even those who are coming at it from the perspective of not wanting to be out visibly and doing visible activism, like, it's not right for everybody to go out and do the 420 celebrations. Not everybody's into it, first and foremost, and secondly, not everybody's willing to take that kind of a risk and do civil disobedience. But having those people being in the community, working at jobs, going to church or, whatever sewing clubs or whatever it is that, social activities that people do, go to the comic book store, game nights or whatever, like the things that people do, they're going to mix with more libertarians if there's more libertarians living in the area. And the more people can encounter a libertarian in their life, the more seriously they're going to take the ideas. Because if it's just one libertarian that they know, or they've only seen him on the side of the road waving a sign or something, but instead they actually know some from work, and they know some from school, and they know some from, you fill in the blank, and they're seeing them on the roads, and they're seeing them in the media, and they're seeing running for office. That's where you can have an effect on people. Because if you can't get the average people on board, it's going to be hard to get to 10 or 20% just by simply bringing people in from the outside. That's hard.
And I think that even the powers that be would sabotage such a movement like that by making it look bad, by inserting different types of situations to make it look bad. Like, for example, if you were, let's even pretend that somehow it was successful to get 1,000 people to move to, and I feel like 1,000 people in one geographical location that were living together.
You mean like a town?
Yeah, like let's say, for example,
1,000 people in New York City isn't going to do anything.
Yeah, forget New York City. I'm talking about, let's say, for example, Henniker. You have the town of Henniker. And let's say 1,000 people moved to Henniker. And I think Henniker's probably got a few thousand people that live there. Maybe they're like 5,000 people or something. If 1,000 people moved to Henniker, but they like moved into like the same streets and neighborhoods where they like took up, 1/4 of the town, but they lived in that side of town. Well, and none of them were like, we're not paying taxes. We're not going to agree to your stuff. And if you want to come here and come and kill us, all of us, to force us to do stuff, you could do that. And and it'll be hard to hide that. And it would be really hard for these guys to come, because even if they drop bombs on them, it'd be hard, because even the rest of Henniker would be like, oh my God, they bombed those guys. Maybe these guys really aren't, as maybe this government really isn't about the freedom that they purport to be.
Wasn't there a movement project in Philly that got bombed in the 70s?
And that's one of the things I think about. Like there's Waco, Texas, which I know they make those guys look like wackos at Waco, but I don't know all the details. But I think that they just wanted to live free, and they burned them to death.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
But they only had a few hundred people. They needed 800 more.
We do need to get more liberty-minded folks to migrate here, and they don't all have to come to the same town, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to have a concentration. We got more coming up here. If you want to weigh in, you're welcome to join us at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here. This is Free Talk Live. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
You're not a wild animal, and you shouldn't be tagged and tracked like one. Where you go and what you do every minute of the day, tracked and recorded by your mobile phone, is often more revealing than your browser history. And tech companies make a fortune selling your location history without your consent. GoDark bags prevent location tracking and protect your privacy by instantly blocking all cell phone, GPS, and Wi-Fi signals to your mobile device. Plus, they're durable, water-resistant, and built for a lifetime of protection. Visit GoDarkbags.com/FTL. That's GoDarkbags.com/FTL.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got the Discord call-in line rooms. They're open over at discord.lrn.fm. And Free Talk Live is brought to you by local.bitcoin.com. If you're ready to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash, you can easily do it now. And you can do it globally via a bunch of different platforms, a bunch of different payment methods like PayPal and Venmo. Now, those are a little higher risk than some of the other ones. As far as especially if you're selling Bitcoin Cash, you got to keep in mind that there are some people out there in the world that are not very honorable, and certain payment methods make it easier for them to be dishonorable. So you're taking a bit of a risk with PayPal and Venmo, but you can use them. Plus, there's bank deposits, remittances, so like sending Western Union, for instance. And you can just meet up in person with cash. There are a bunch of different ways to do it. Go to local.bitcoin.com. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and to use the site, and all the communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. It is a global trading platform that actually respects your privacy. Local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. As we continue here, we got Penis Jim in our Discord chat, who's sharing a archive.org link to the old Freetown Project website, Silver Dave. So if you want to go check out and see what the old pitch for the Freetown Project was, you can do that. As he points out, they basically were professional level trolls who were just too good at trolling, and basically ended up their movement never really panned out because there was such a large pushback in the town of Grafton, New Hampshire, which was where they had chosen as their destination for the Freetown Project. He said that he thought Free Keene was a much more successful sort of Freetown Project, but Free Keene was never actually overtly pitched as just, hey, come take over Keene, because that wouldn't have been possible. Keene's a town of 23,000 people, and it would be ridiculous to think that you could, bring the numbers of people in here that you would need to actually take it over. Whereas in a small town, they actually thought they would have a chance at doing that. But what ended up happening was they were so loud and obnoxious about what they wanted to do, they stirred up the hornet's nest, if you will, and got a bunch of people in the town who hadn't been that active to all of a sudden get active against the Freetown Project. So there's no easy solution here, but either way, any way you slice it, having greater numbers in a concentrated area makes all the difference in the world. And that reminds me, actually, I meant to say that we've got a incredibly good piece of news about another arch statist hater who is now leaving New Hampshire. Have you ever heard of Susan the Bruce? I didn't expect that you had. Susan the Bruce is, or was, still is, she is a hater of freedom. She hates libertarians. She is an active blogger, so she has her own blog. It's called Susan the Bruce. And she was one of the most, I would say, visible of those people who opposed libertarians, right? So, like, there's people who don't like libertarians, but you don't know who they are. And then there's the people who make a big to-do about not liking libertarians and put it on their blog site. Susan was one of the few people over the years who was a relatively consistent critic, somebody who paid attention, somebody who wrote frequently about what Free Staters were up to. I was a target by her a number of times on her blog, but she would target a lot of what was going on in the State House. She also hates Republicans as well. She's a lefty. And she's gone. She announced on her blog recently that she is moving to Maine. So now the people of Maine will have to deal with Susan the Bruce and this one of the most visible and I would say well-spoken. I mean, she's not a dumb woman. Like, she was good at writing and she was fairly sharp in her criticisms, but she gave up and she decided she's going to move east and go to Maine.
Good.
So,
enjoy.
Yeah.
Have her, Maine. Take her.
I love it when this news happens, because Susan the Bruce wasn't the first one to go either. There was another one that used to write for a website called Counterpunch, and I'm forgetting what her name was off the top of my head. She used to live out in the town where Mark lived, and she wrote articles for this sort of international website called Counterpunch that were very anti-Free State Project. She moved out several years ago. She sold her house in the Cheshire County area, and she moved out of the state. And so now we got another one who is moving out of the state. And I feel like these are real successes for us, because if you can have enough success with your political migration, which is what we're doing here, right? We've got libertarians migrating to New Hampshire and getting active so we can hopefully achieve more freedom in our lifetime. And you're so frustrating to the other side, to the statist opposition. You're so frustrating to them that they quit being state representatives, that they quit being active in politics altogether, and even better, leave the state entirely. I mean, that is something that we should be celebrating and cheering about, because it's great news. I mean, Susan the Bruce, one of the most visible anti-freedom bloggers in New Hampshire, is gone. And she's not the first one to go. We've had haters here in the Keene area who, a year or so ago, they left town. Two of the worst haters in Keene. From what I've heard, they've moved out of New Hampshire entirely. There was the guy who attacked Sam Dodson years ago with a coffee cup on the streets of Keene. It was ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous to even call it an attack, but it was technically an assault. He touched him in the face with his coffee cup. He didn't spill hot coffee on him. He just kind of had this empty coffee cup with him that said "Free Keene" from the Free Keeners or something like that, written out, scrawled on it. And the dude was a downtown business owner who was just completely irrational in his hatred for the Free Staters here. He's gone. He moved to Los Angeles, sold his business. His daughter, who was almost as bad as he was, also moved out. She moved down to D.C. So it's almost all of the most visible, loudest haters have just packed it up and said, we're done. We're done. Because, I mean, if you were a total statist and you were in New Hampshire and you were hoping to make some headway, and then all of a sudden you start coming up against these damn libertarians who are getting elected, who are stopping your legislation from getting through, how many more times are you going to keep going? How many more times are you going to keep bashing your head up against the libertarian apparatus here and have no success or very little success when you could just leave? And you could go somewhere like New York, or you could go somewhere like, California or some other arch-statist kind of not freedom-friendly place, and you can have all the freedom-crushing legislation that you wanted in New Hampshire. It's already been passed in these other places. You want gun control? Head on out to New York or California. There it is, all the gun control you could possibly want.
I don't know how people can have this kind of mindset where they want to be limited, where they want to have their own freedoms limited. It'd be like, please enslave me more. Please limit my freedom more. I can't get enough of this. How can people think this way? It really is amazing.
Is it about them wanting to be enslaved, or is it about them wanting other people to be enslaved?
Good point.
The toll-free number here, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. So sayonara, Susan the Bruce, and whatever other haters are out there. I'm sure you're going to go. And the more libertarians that move here, the more difficult their lives become. It's Free Talk Live.
Anarchadelphia is a conference dedicated to the principles of liberty, individual sovereignty, and freedom from coercion. Located in Philadelphia, the cradle of liberty. Anarchadelphia seeks to shed light on issues such as geopolitics, blockchain economics, spiritual health and wellness, as well as exposing the Earth's sacred hidden knowledge, featuring Mark Passio, Max Egan, Derek Brose, Jeff Berwick, and many more this September 13th through 15th. For info and tickets, visit anarchadelphia.com.
Are you able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, without having to check in with anyone? Or are you stuck in a job, business, relationship, or marriage where you can't do what you want, where you're pretty much a glorified prisoner? I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create location-independent income under a flexible schedule and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
Our very own Tracy met farmer Ray Kimball, who says that his horse, Franklin, has the ability to speak full sentences.
When did you first realize he could talk?
Well, I'd hear him saying things when I was sleeping, and then I'd go out to the barn and we'd have some real conversations.
Can we talk to Franklin?
He can't wait to meet you. Say hi, Franklin. What's that? That's a good one.
What did he say?
He said, "Who's the pretty lady?"
Aw. Franklin, do you like living on the farm?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Did he say something?
Tracy, you live here now.
I spent a cozy night at Ray's farmhouse in a room he called the altar. I learned that the farmer has a whole lot more on his mind than just a talking horse.
You are my beloved.
This is the Onion News Network.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us here. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Talking about the success of the idea of concentrating libertarian activists in one geographic area. It has been, I would say, an unmatched success. There's been nothing like the Great Liberty Migration that's been happening here in New Hampshire, anywhere else on the planet. This one has been a success not only for the reasons that I initially stated of, the political success stories, people actually getting elected, and all the great things that that has brought about, the civil disobedience, as well as some of the other activism, the outreach here has been pretty unprecedented. The cop blocking, this is the home of cop block. It was right here in our little own Keene, New Hampshire. It's Ian and Silver Dave, by the way, with us. But the other side of that success story is driving away the bad guys, driving away the statists, the arch statists who believe in government control and government obedience and bigger taxes and more government programs. People like Susan the Bruce, who is a longtime blogger here in New Hampshire. She recently, in her most recent blog post, announced she is leaving. She's moving to Maine. And she's not the first, nor will she be the last of the opposition to just throw it in, to pack it up, throw the towel in, and call it a day and get the F out of New Hampshire. And I love it. I love it when that happens because I see it as an amazing success story when that happens because you're basically losing like some of the most visible opponents. Right? Like, yeah, there's your average run-of-the-mill statists out there, but we don't know who they are. They don't have blogs. They don't, write letters to the editor. When the people who are the visible doers, the so-called thought leaders in the media, decide to hightail it out of New Hampshire, we ought to celebrate that. I think that's great news.
Which makes me wonder if you had the 1,000 people that moved to one concentrated area.
Mm-hmm. Like a town, you mean?
Like a town. Maybe a lot of other people would move away.
Yeah.
Then maybe this changes this sort of ratio that you picture, how many would it take? Well, we can't calculate for how many people would leave. And then how many other people. Most people don't really stand for anything, in my opinion. Most people just go along to get along. They don't really have ethics or value. They just go to work.
That's right.
And they go home and they watch TV until they go to bed. And they wake up in the morning
and they just
want
to take care of their family and live their life.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do. And that's fine.
And that's probably the larger percentage of people.
Absolutely.
So they'll just go along with whatever the doers, whatever the people who are sort of louder, metaphorically speaking, do. So like,
yes,
if the louder liberty people, if the people came in and they were liberty oriented and they sort of took over and the loud anti-liberty people moved, then the sort of, just go along with whatever people would just go along with the liberty.
That's correct. I think you're absolutely right about that, Silver Dave. I think that also you would see people who were sort of, so you've got the group you're talking about, the sort of the majority. I would say they're probably the majority of people. A lot of them don't vote. They just don't care. They just live in their life and they're trying to ignore the government and try to just do whatever they got to do to get by. I think those people would do exactly what you're talking about. And then there would be others who maybe would be a little more active. They might have been with the Republicans or the Democrats or something like that. But as they perceived that libertarianism was becoming more popular, some of them might switch sides and they might say things like, "Oh yeah, I always agreed with you guys," even though they never really actually did anything until the last moment.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and then of course we'll also get the later movers, the ones that didn't want to actually start anything or join early, but they'll see that we've had all this success, and then let's call them the lazier libertarians will pick up 10 years later, and they'll, oh, okay, you guys finally got legal marijuana. Oh, you finally, whatever.
They're like the people that show up once there's like a lot of appetizers are out, and all. They're like, oh, we heard all this, They didn't want to do the work, but they wanted to, receive the benefits.
Yeah, and that's to be expected.
Okay.
Yeah, it's to be.
That's okay.
Hopefully, we can persuade more people to move sooner rather than later. But it's a hard task getting people to pick up their lives and migrate for freedom. Let alone, saying, "Hey, come to one specific town," because it's hard to advocate that. Because a lot of people need a job. They don't have their own business, so they can't just move to Henniker. Right, because Henniker probably doesn't have a whole lot of jobs available. It's a small town, so it would make more sense if you were like a self-mover, right? Like you had your own business, you could just kind of live wherever you wanted to. That would be
grow
the kind
your
of
own food.
Yeah,
so you don't and that's a lot of it too. Is that this system is designed so that you have to work because you have to buy food.
You got to pay property tax.
You got to pay property taxes. You got to pay these fees to live. You can't just live, which to me is like the clear indication that there is not freedom. Like
that's right.
Like who are these guys? Here's what I've always wondered. I was a little kid, I've always wondered. You buy your property from one person, well, they bought it from someone else. Well, who's the first guy who just claimed that they owned everything?
Whoever conquered the Indians,
start?
I guess.
Yeah. So, I feel like I'm not really...
Probably some a-hole. The king or something like that, right?
Yeah. So, where did it all start? Whatever happened to the idea of that the earth is home for all the animals and all the people to share and live?
That's a good question. I bet your roommate knows good history on, where property came from, because I think he's done a lot of research on that topic. I bet if you asked Jay Newman, our Wednesday night co-host. Let's bring Bad Slave on the line here. He's on our Discord server. Go ahead, Bad Slave.
Well, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Susan the Bruce has hit the road. That is fabulous.
Isn't that great news?
She was so annoying. I interacted directly with her a couple of times.
Oh, really? You met her in real life?
Well, it was over the web.
Oh, okay.
At dinner.
Not the same thing.
Yeah, Facebook or something like that. And you forget maybe to mention that there was big funding for these progressives to try to interfere with FSP and Soros, probably Susan the Bruce was getting something. We know what's her three-name thing, one that had those meetups that we invaded.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. There was this progressive group that used to come out with exposés on who all the free staters were that were running for office, but they didn't do it in 2018 for some reason. I don't know what happened.
Well, they just realized that we're not the evil empire,
or that we're not going away.
Nobody's really getting excited about it.
Yeah,
liberty's not a bad idea.
Right. Well, they a lot of times when they try to do hit pieces on candidates, it ended up being a benefit to the candidates because they would spend a bunch of money trying to out the political candidates, like so and so is against taxes, so and so is against government schools or whatever. They come out with this list of things that were all true, and
they say their name a bunch of times.
Yeah. It was marketing.
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah, and there's a basis of New Hampshire residents that have been here for a long time that agree with the liberty perspective.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
And so they were having a terrible time getting traction. That's why they leave, and they'll always leave because it's uncomfortable here for us. For them, and we're happy to have them. I mean, we want them to be around. We want to talk to them. We want to ask them questions. They hate questions. It's great,
Yep,
but also the Freetown Project.
Hold that thought. I'll let you continue on the Freetown here in just a moment. More with Bad Slave. He was around back in the day. He even actually lived in Grafton for some amount of time, so he was pretty close to the whole Freetown concept. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. If you want to join us, you can do that. And you can also take control of the airwaves and bring up whatever's on your mind. 855-450-3733. It's Free Talk Live.
Taheebo Tea Club's original pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea comes from the only tree in the world that fungus doesn't grow on. So it naturally has antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-infection, anti-inflammation, and anti-parasite properties. But maybe more importantly, Taheebo Tea Club's original pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea builds corpuscles in the blood which carry oxygen to our organs and cells. Our organs and cells need oxygen to regenerate themselves. The immune system needs oxygen to develop, and cancer happens to die in oxygen. The tea is great for healthy people, and it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. Taheebo Tea Club's original pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea is only $34.95 plus shipping. Order now at shopsupertea.com or call 818-984-6100. That's shopsupertea.com or call 818-984-6100. Shopsupertea.com.
When you have a pain in the neck, a real pain in the neck, back, shoulder, or legs, you now have two convenient choices to get fast relief without taking another pill. Because now, Sunny Bay heating wraps and pillows are available at both Amazon and Walmart. Yes, see Sunny Bay's 4.5 to 5-star customer reviews on Amazon.com or Walmart.com. Our microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra large body wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it. Even while driving, Sunny Bay wraps will not burn and stay balanced to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to help treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part, Sunny Bay quality products start at under $20. Join thousands of happy customers and see why Sunny Bay products have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. It's easy. Click Amazon or Walmart and search today for Sunny Bay.
This is novelist Tom Robbins. When my mother was diagnosed with glaucoma, her conservative Virginia physician told her there was only one treatment that might ease her pain and save her eyesight. That treatment was medical marijuana, which he could not prescribe. I offered to get her some and teach her how to use it effectively, but my father objected because marijuana was against the law. So my mother, who loved to read and walk in nature, was condemned to grow cruelly, unnecessarily blind. Tragedies like this happen all the time, but they don't have to keep happening. To learn more about medical marijuana, call the Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or visit them on the web at mpp.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. So all you have to do is dial the toll-free number, which is 855-450-FREE. We've gotten on to one of my favorite topics, and Dave, you brought us into this, the discussion about freedom lovers coming to one geographic area together. Now, you're being a little more specific regarding the destination. You're saying maybe they should move to a town rather than all to one state. Now, of course, I think that we need to see both of those things happen. I think that we need to have the Free State Project concept of people moving to New Hampshire because it is still a relatively small state with a low population. Gives people more options to where they can move. So if you need to move to a bigger city or something like that, or you need to be close to Boston, there are options for that. Or you can move to one of the smaller towns like Dave is suggesting here and maybe have a much larger impact for whatever it is that, activism that you're going to do. I do want to make sure you know about My Magic Mud. Wherever it is that you are, you got to have good teeth, healthy teeth, white teeth, and this wonderful black tooth powder made of charcoalized coconut shells and bentonite clay can help you do that. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and there's a reason why it's available in a bunch of great health food stores like Sprouts, CVS, Natural Grocers, and even Walmart's Natural Beauty aisle, and that's because the product works and people love it, and it's been a great success story for the folks over at My Magic Mud over the past few years, several years actually. Liberty-oriented folks behind the business. You go to mymagicmud.com and you can skip the trip to the store and save 20% by using code FTL20. That's FTL20 like Free Talk Live. FTL20 for 20% off at mymagicmud.com as we go back to Bad Slave commenting on the original idea of the Freetown Project. Now, Dave just came up with the idea again here, but it's been, 15 or so years, maybe even 20 years, not quite 20 years, I guess, probably like 18 years since somebody originally cooked this idea up, and they chose Grafton as the town, and things didn't quite work out the way they intended. Your thoughts on that, Bad Slave?
Well, we actually had already living there, the Libertarian candidate for governor for, I think, 4 years, or not 4 years, 4 terms. And, of course, he never got close to being elected.
No.
But there was already a good Liberty contingent living up there. But I think, there was paid opposition again, even in this Freetown Project arrangement, that there was a troll that operated remotely down in Florida, and then another guy that showed up here, and it's not hard, a jerk to raise the hackles of the local town, by just putting out comments and going around, just being a total, troll. I mean, they trolled.
Let me read the paragraph here that was one of the original pitches for the Freetown Project. It says, quote, "The Freetown Project intends to liberate either a New Hampshire town or a western county by moving in enough libertarians to control the local government and remove oppressive regulations such as planning and zoning and building code requirements, and stop enforcement of laws prohibiting victimless acts among consenting adults such as dueling, gambling, incest, price gouging, cannibalism, and drug handling." So they basically put some of the most offensive possible issues in this pitch for the Freetown Project. I mean, there's no reason why cannibalism and incest need to be on the front page of any libertarian website anywhere.
Not at all.
So,
I don't know. Are you sure? Because I mean, it sounds kind of. No, I'm just kidding.
So, I mean, that was the attitude, right, of some of these founders. I mean, so how serious this guy was about this, I don't know. Some people did move to Grafton, and it sort of became this sort of unofficial Freetown Project, but it was that attitude of maximum trolling, maximum rudeness, or whatever you want to call that, that really created a lot of the pushback by some of the old town members.
Right. And one of those we just lost. Well, we've lost two of them. We've lost John Cannell, the preacher of our church, Peaceful Assembly Church, and now more recently Bob Hull was a state rep, an active state rep as he passed away.
That's right.
But we've had even more people moving up here. They tend to be I think, a little, lower keyed kind of thing, and that we need to kind of start gathering together to put our pieces together so that we're, not in battle with each other, because it seems like that is occurring way too much up there. And so I'm still hopeful. I still have property up there, and have an interest in completing and making a go of it up there. So
well, I know that every year we do hear about the town meeting, because that's how towns are governed here in New Hampshire, is the town meeting format, where people can just show up at this meeting. If they're voters in the town, they can actually weigh in on budgetary matters and actually, vote things up and down. And apparently they've been fairly contentious, with a good libertarian chunk coming in there and really upsetting the old town,
That's been going on,
families.
yes. So before we go on, I want to get up the notice that the governor, I think, is about to veto 3 gun bills that need to be vetoed. And I just talked to the receptionist at the State House earlier today, and I had a really nice conversation with her, and I asked her if she was in agreement with my stance, and she said, "Well, I can't talk about that." But then I got to talking to her, and she says, "Hey, I really like the way you said that." So I was starting to realize what was going on, and like I say, these are going to be some of the people that are the long-term, New Hampshire residents that agree with liberty, and
yeah, there are a lot of those people up here, and it's one of the reasons why New Hampshire was chosen. Pat Slave, thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate hearing from you. It's one of the reasons why New Hampshire was chosen as the destination for the Free State Project, is because of its sort of the live free or die mentality that exists in many of the natives that are from up here. Let's go to Gene, the Christian anarchist. He's on the line, also on our Discord server. I presume calling from Tennessee. Go ahead, Gene.
Yes, wanted to talk about something I've touched on in the past, and that is history and lies, and what it is that we actually know. And I kind of stumbled across a YouTube clip or video called "What If Everything You Were Ever Taught Was a Lie?" If anybody wants to look that up, it's pretty good.
I like where this is going already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've used this in my arguments regarding the Bible being infallible and other things of that nature. But where I really want to go with this is different belief systems. People have different belief systems. Some people believe the earth is flat. Some people believe that all those contrails in the sky are chemtrails. I know that both of those things are false.
Mm-hmm.
And yet some of the people that I have met or people that I've run across, they believe those things. And I have to allow them to believe what they want to believe, because nobody believes exactly the same thing. Nobody believes exactly what I believe. And if we insist that other people believe exactly like we do, then we're going to be beating our head against the wall all the time, because you're never going to get everybody to believe exactly the way you do. I mean, you're lucky not to get anybody to believe that. My wife doesn't believe exactly like I do. And so you have to allow people their different conclusions. Now, it doesn't mean you can't talk to them about it and, discuss things. Like when I talk to flat earth people, I say, why are the days longer in Alaska than they are in Florida during the summertime? Those kind of things that kind of, I'm just looking to get the gears turning.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, we don't know what's true and what's not. All we know is what we can observe.
Sure.
And so many of the things that we've been taught in the past are absolute lies. So we need to question everything.
Yeah, well, I agree with questioning everything. And if people want to have beliefs that seem completely unfathomable and unsupportable, that's certainly their prerogative. If you've got more, Gene, you can stand by. We'll continue here.
Sure.
Your calls and thoughts are welcome. Ian and Silver Dave in the studio. Hour 3's next. This is Free Talk Live.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,473, silver at $16.48, and Bitcoin is trading around $11,641. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, U.S. stocks tumbled Monday on the heels of news that China is devaluing its currency in response to President Donald Trump's tariff war. The Dow Jones Industrial Average posted a loss of 767 points by the close of business, as world markets also fell to the news that the Chinese yuan was reduced to its lowest valuation in a decade. The move came after Trump announced tariffs last week on $300 billion in Chinese goods. According to a report from NPR, the decline makes Chinese imports in the United States less expensive, thus making U.S. companies less competitive. It also lowers profits for U.S. companies that do business in China. Trump took to Twitter to vent his frustrations on Monday, saying, quote, "China dropped the price of their currency to an almost historic low. It's called currency manipulation. Are you listening, Federal Reserve? This is a major violation which will greatly weaken China over time." End quote. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Millions of Americans across the Midwest this summer are being subjected to surveillance from above as the Pentagon experiments with the use of surveillance radars attached to high-altitude balloons. As The Guardian reported on Friday, the defense and aerospace contractor, Sierra Nevada Corporation, was authorized by the Federal Communications Commission to send up to 25 balloons across 6 states to track vehicles. U.S. Southern Command commissioned the project for the stated purpose of creating a persistent surveillance system to deter drug traffickers and perceived homeland security threats. Activist Post reports that civil liberties advocates are distressed at the newly reported project, which the Sierra Nevada Corporation obtained a license to begin on July 12th and end September 1st. The balloons are being sent from South Dakota through portions of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri, and Illinois. Their high-tech radars are able to simultaneously track many vehicles at once on a 25-mile swath beneath the balloon. National Security Agency whistleblower Edward Snowden wants to fight back against corporate surveillance by Instagram and his parent company Facebook, as well as YouTube, which is owned by Google. Activist Post reports that in a tweet rant posted on Twitter, Snowden expressed that both social media giants, owned by Mark Zuckerberg, were involved in spying on their users, as well as YouTube. Snowden also announced that he has created new accounts on the platforms and that he will explain how the sites spy on users. He added that he would, quote, explain methods to limit how much they know about you, end quote, if you choose to use them. Earlier, Snowden announced a new forthcoming memoir called Permanent Record, due out in September, which will tell all of his secrets. Snowden has also released a YouTube ad for the book. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
A severe allergic reaction causes Florida to swell up to twice its normal size, and a Ford assembly line worker is thinking about asking out a cute welding robot from work. It's time for the weekly feature with over 14 subliminal and completely unapologetic cues to purchase Energizer batteries. This is the Onion Week in Review. Area man Brett Lucier told reporters Tuesday he was left winded after placing a particularly lengthy lunch order at a local Wendy's. A weary Lucier said he struggled to get through the 7-item order and even suffered a cramp while asking for the spicy chicken sandwich.
I thought I was just about done after I ordered that Junior Bacon cheeseburger, but I was able to get that Frosty in there too.
And in this week's op-ed pages, a local man talks about how he was always just one of those kids who was off by himself taking cats apart to see how they work. In your hands right now are the 24 AA Energizer lithium batteries you were subconsciously manipulated into purchasing. We make no apology. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program. You can bring up whatever you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. With you tonight, it's Ian.
Silver Dave.
And we've got a website. It's freetalklive.com. You can go there and get interactive in a variety of different ways. We've got archives that you can download that go back to 2006. Actually, even beyond that, if you go to our torrents. Anyway, go to freetalklive.com and enjoy all the features that we have there for you for free. As we continue, coming up, have we hit peak podcast? Asks the New York Times, and it's an interesting question. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk about it, but we've been focusing on the activism migration, and Gene the Christian Anarchist is with us here on our Discord server. Gene, I felt like you had more to say here tonight, so please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm talking mainly about the different belief systems that people have, and I'm going to go back to flat earthers again because, you know, I kind of like flat earthers. They're funny people, but some of them are completely sincere. But There's another YouTube, and I'm not trying to plug YouTube channels here, but there's one called Vsauce, and very good on scientific stuff. And he did one called "Is the Earth Actually Flat?" And he uses physics and stuff to show how possibly the Earth could be flat and all these things. But
but he doesn't actually believe it.
No, of course not. But
gotcha.
Well, but it's easy to throw. I'm not saying that I believe in the Earth being flat.
Thank God.
But I'm not going to say, but here's the thing is, I can't say that I know that it's round. I don't know anything. I've never been
You've never flown that high.
I've never flown that high. And I feel like, it's easy to, throw those ideas under the bus and say, oh, that can't be true. But, everything we think we know, almost everything we think we know,
somebody
really
told
just
you.
Someone told us.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's a lot of lies out there. And then there's also just a lot of people perpetuating things that they don't know either. So
that said, though, there's enough people who've flown high enough to where they can see the curvature of the Earth, and so it's not like you're going to be able to have a conspiracy that includes every single airline pilot that has ever existed to try to keep a secret about this. Gene, you are a pilot. How high up do you have to go before you can start to notice the curvature of the Earth?
Well, I'm pretty sure that what you see on the horizon at 36,000 feet, where most airliners travel, is a representation of the curvature of the Earth. And some people claim it's not, but it looks like a curvature to me at any rate. And obviously, I spend time in Alaska, and in the summertime, the days are longer than they are in Florida. So these kind of things pretty much lay that claim to bear. I don't think that you could say that the Earth is flat. But the thing that I'm getting at is, though, people have different levels of understanding, and you have to accept people as they are. You can't just discard somebody because they have a totally different, even a crazy mindset. And I think maybe that's one of the things as a libertarian or an anarchist that I really want to let other people know, is that you've got to accept people as they are, because you can try to change them, you can lead them along a little bit, but you don't have the power to change other people. We can only try and talk to them and share what we know.
Sure.
And hope
you can set an example
that helps.
You can set an example and hope that they'll see that your example is a success, and maybe they'll want to know why or value the reasons why they were a success. And perhaps,
and if we throw somebody out and just say, well, they're totally useless, they're no good, and then 2 weeks later they say, oh yeah, you were right, come around. But
I don't think Susan the Bruce is coming around.
You never know.
I don't think so. Like, there's certain people who, you don't want to spend any time on them, okay? I'm not saying you should spend your time fighting those people, but they're also not worth spending your time on trying to influence in any positive way, simply because they have indicated that they're not willing to even be receptive to listen to anything. Your time is limited, so spend it on the people that are better prospects, in my opinion.
Well, I agree with that too, but I'm just saying you don't want to reject anybody initially. You want to at least give them a chance,
Absolutely.
So,
good call tonight, Gene. Go ahead.
Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks.
I was going to say it's a big world, and we have room for a lot of different ideas and people.
Absolutely true. Thank you for the call, Gene, the Christian anarchist. Unless, of course, your ideas are to subjugate and rule others. I don't really want to hang out with people that get pleasure from the pain of others. Schadenfreude, I think that is, taking pleasure from someone else's pain. So, no, there's, obviously we shouldn't be encouraging certain types of behavior, but as long as your beliefs don't harm anybody else, then I got no issue with you. You can live your life however you want. But if your beliefs are that you are the one who's right and you're the one who should rule over others, and that you will use violence to get your way over others, then I'm not going to just stand by quietly as you try to institute those beliefs over people. Something must be done. Somebody has to stand up and say no. And that comes back around to what we were talking about earlier. Silver Dave is encouraging more people to say no, but to, better yet, say no together. So they're not all alone or feeling alone at the time that they decide to say no, where they know they've got people who agree with them, who are nearby in close physical proximity, who could come to their assistance, who could come to a court trial, who could, arm up or whatever if necessary.
And it brings us back to, we've come almost full circle, that if you knew that tomorrow you could say no and get away with it, would you? Would you give them the money tomorrow if you got your paycheck and you could choose? You're like, I'm going to give half of my paycheck in, property taxes and I'm going to give half of my paycheck in income tax, property tax, licensing fee, registration fee, fishing license, hunting license, sales tax, and all this other crap. Right. And you could choose to give it. That way they could spend the money to murder farmers in Afghanistan to help the agenda. Would you give it? On the other hand,
if you knew you could get away with it.
If you knew you could get away with saying no, you're going to waste this money. You people are jerks and you're using this for the most horrible things. I'm not going to give it to you. And if you knew you could do it, would you give it? And I feel like so many people would be like, no, I'm not giving. In fact, I think most people don't trust the government. And I
hope so.
And I even heard a statistic, yesterday we were talking, some of my friends and I were talking about that they said that less than 10% of Americans believed the official 9/11 story. And someone else even said that there's a video of Donald Trump actually saying that it's not possible that airplanes could knock down those towers, and that they must have had explosives. I want to find this video myself because they were talking about it. They were saying that it was on InfoWars that this was talking about. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that or not, but
yeah, sure.
So I just got $50. No,
wait, is Alex Jones paying people to say InfoWars in the media?
I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
But they're like, hey, they will not quiet me. They will not quiet me. Anyway, so but the thing is that like less than 10% supposedly even believe the story. And I feel like so few people believe the government, so few people believe in the wars, but everyone's okay with it. But if people knew they could get away with saying no, they would. And I feel like how could we get people to connect together to say like, hey, Ralph, Frankie, George, hey guys, we all know we feel the same way, right? Like we want freedom. We want to keep the fruits of our labor. Well, like, let's do it. And I feel like if people knew they could do it, if they knew that the person to the left and the right would support it too, and they wouldn't just like let you stand up by yourself and then like the Nazis would just shoot you. If there was a way to do that, tomorrow we could be free. Tomorrow. And I think about it all the time.
If enough people gave up their belief in the government and their fear of what might happen if they said no, then we would be significantly more free. You're absolutely right about that. The toll-free number here, if you want to join us, it's 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Well, join me, because I haven't paid those goons since 2004, and I've been doing it on a moral basis. I don't want to support murder and threats and killing. And the toll-free number here again, 855-450-FREE like freedom, although I have still been paying the property tax, unfortunately. It's Free Talk Live. Nobody's perfect.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Business owners, you want more customers? Accept cryptocurrencies. There's people all around you just waiting to spend money at your store. If only you would take it. I know, you've been waiting till someone else makes it easy. Well, good news. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com adds Bitcoin to your point of sale. totally free. Use the same equipment you already have, now with Bitcoin. And unlike credit cards, there's no fees. Let the guys at helpmetakebitcoin.com bring new customers to your store. helpmetakebitcoin.com.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces, even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us right here. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in lines. They're available for you. Actually, that's where everybody's been calling tonight, and it's been sounding great. It's Ian and Silver Dave here in the studio. Our toll-free number again, 855-450-FREE. The Discord lines are over at discord.lrn.fm. In fact, that's where we're going next. But first, I do want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet. It's the one that I use more than any other, and I've used a bunch of them because I like crypto and I like trying different wallets and seeing which ones are the best. And Edge Wallet is an excellent wallet. That's why I use it. It's not because they're a sponsor of the show. They became a sponsor long after I was a fan of Edge. So it's great to have them on board. Secure your freedom by buying, selling, trading, and securely holding cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin BTC, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Dash, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Stellar, and more, including just added Ravencoin over on the Edge Wallet. You can download it for iOS as well as Android devices. You can also visit their website at edge.app. That's edge.app. As we continue, we'll take your phone calls and thoughts. We've got Nathan. He's on the line in Texas on our Discord call-in lines. Go ahead, Nathan.
Oh, hey, how are you doing, Ian?
Hey,
Dave.
What's on your mind?
Well, I wanted to talk about YouTube censorship. It's, traditionally YouTube has been the least censorious of the big social networks. And
really?
Yeah, that might be surprising, but they're very lenient compared to Facebook, or Twitter. Like, there's a lot of people who, they'll get banned from Twitter. Sargon, Carl Benjamin would be an obvious example. He got banned from Twitter a long time ago, banned from Patreon, but still not banned from YouTube. So it may seem sometimes like you get, banned from, like Alex Jones, you get banned from them all at once. That's not always the case. But I think YouTube censorship, we're going to see a big increase in it with the the 2020 election, because Google owns YouTube, and I don't know if you saw the Project Veritas video, but the one where they said they can't allow a Trump situation or whatever.
No, I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's a leaked video on YouTube where basically someone went undercover at Google headquarters and they recorded some people, and there's this one executive lady who's talking about, well, if they break up YouTube or they break up Google, then we can't prevent another Trump situation. The video might still be available. I can't remember the title, but it's like Project Veritas Google leak or something like that. But the main reason I wanted to call about it is because today someone pointed me to a video called "The Dark Age of YouTube Has Begun," and so this is only a prediction. But in the video, the person is using some evidence to make a prediction. There was someone, and I can't remember the name. It's in the video. Someone who basically they made a new YouTube channel, and they immediately had 1 million subscribers.
What?
And people were saying, yeah, this you have to. This rarely happens. You have to work for years, or to get a lot of subscribers.
So what do they buy the subscribers on, like one of those fake sites where you can just hire a bunch of people in like India to go and?
That is a possibility. But what's worse is that people report being automatically subscribed to this person. And another thing with YouTube is a lot of people are always reporting they're getting unsubscribed from people that they subscribe to when YouTube goes in, and they put they're clearing spam bots and stuff. But people also suspect that YouTube is deliberately trying to reduce the reach of, basically because of these advertisers, the adpocalypse. Advertisers don't want to be exposed on risky content, so then they'll go away, and YouTube will put a new round of censorship. We're probably going to see more of that. But the interesting thing about this particular case is that this person seemingly got a lot of 1 million subs very quickly, and people found themselves subscribed to this person just without having actually clicked the button. And so the possibility is that YouTube is going to explicitly start, promoting people and just giving them likes, giving them subscribers and promotion.
Why would they
even more than they already
I mean,
do.
are you suggesting that they would be subscribing people to a channel to which they had not subscribed? That YouTube would essentially force subscriptions?
That is the allegation that the video made, and it's from.
Is there
someone
any
I trust.
evidence for that, or is that just pure speculation?
Well, the video has the evidence in it. I think it was like the dark age of YouTube or whatever. But
well, how do you show evidence that somebody was falsely subscribed to something? How could you even prove that?
Well, the only thing you could really show is screenshots from people who say that they've been subscribed. So it's admittedly not certain at this point, but based on everything else I know, it seems like it's a definite possibility.
Color me skeptical on that. I mean, it just doesn't seem like that would really fly. People would be pretty upset, and I think you would hear a lot more about it than just some conspiracy theory video. I think people would be really mad if they found that they'd been subscribed to channels that they didn't ask to subscribe to. That sort of goes against the whole system.
Presumably.
Huh?
They are presumably they are, yes. And there's a lot of things that aren't conspiracy that kind of point in that direction. Like, for example, on the trending page, you don't even, if you're CNN, it's actually YouTube policy that you don't need as many views to get on the trending page.
Sure, yeah. There's certain channels that they are putting first and foremost. Like you're pointing out, CNN, major mainstream news media sources are more likely to end up in the recommended videos, algorithm, and things like that. So there's definitely no doubt that YouTube is using its programming to show people things that they otherwise might not have seen. But that's not the same thing as saying they're going to just go ahead and wholesale subscribe everybody to CNN or some other propaganda channel like that. I feel like I think that would be obviously crossing a line that even they wouldn't, be so brazen as to cross, because it kind of eliminates the whole YouTube idea where, oh, no, we think you need to subscribe to these 5 channels, and we're going to force subscribe you to these channels, and no, you can't unsubscribe.
I mean, even YouTube Rewind. YouTube Rewind is this highlight clip that they put out every year on YouTube's channel. They actually excluded PewDiePie from that, even though he's the top non-corporate YouTuber.
Well, he's been in there before, though, hasn't he?
He has, but they're putting more people in there who basically they're celebrities who don't even have a lot of subscribers on their channel.
Well,
And
I mean,
so
didn't PewDiePie make a big to-do about leaving YouTube for live streaming? I mean, he's on DLive now.
He is. That's correct.
Yeah.
Because YouTube, is obviously not treating. The thing is that YouTube seems to be going away from the whole point of YouTube, which was that YouTube, like you at home, the average person put up a video, and then on the merits,
That it can be seen. Yeah. No, there's no doubt about that. I mean, I would agree with you that it is its mission has shifted over the years as it has become more of a corporate tool that is manipulated by Google for whatever purposes, as opposed to its original founding by a couple college graduates or something. I mean, it's come a long way in the last 13 or so years of its existence. Thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number, if you want to join us, it's 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. And we are on YouTube, by the way, but we don't ever really promote that fact. We do have a Free Talk Live channel there. It's /FTL... /Free Talk Live Radio, I think. Anyway, if you go to youtube.freetalklive.com, it'll take you right to it. We got more coming up. Your calls and thoughts are certainly welcome, and our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Ian and Silver Dave in the studio. You can also join us on our Discord server, just like our last three callers. Just go to discord.lrn.fm and hop into one of those top 4 channels. They're called on-air call-in lines. We will notice you there and join you in there, and then you'll sound like you're sitting here with us.
Call me.
We got more on the way. It is Free Talk Live. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. I want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet, Edge Wallet, at edge.app. Edge is the wallet I use more than any other, and that was true long before Edge Wallet became a sponsor of Free Talk Live. Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and more. It's available for both Android and iOS, and you can download it via the Play or App Store or via Edge Wallet's website, edge.app. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to SaveItPurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up what you want. Just dial in toll free here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. With you in the studio, it's Ian
Silver Dave.
And you can join us online. Just go to freetalklive.com and enjoy the features we have for you there, including our video streaming services. We're on Twitch at twitch.lrn.fm. We're also on DLive at dlive.lrn.fm. Those are two places that you can follow our channel, and then you'll get notices like in email or in the Twitch or DLive apps when we go live. So you can watch the show on video. If you care about that, you're welcome to do that. It's free, of course. We're going back to your phone calls and thoughts. Let's go to Devin, who's calling from Jacksonville, Florida, watching us on YouTube. Devin, you're on Free Talk Live.
Dork Dave's more fitting.
All right. You are not allowed to call this show. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. Let's go to David in New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live. Hello.
Well, speaking of YouTube, first of all, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, YouTube is the only service that I can use if I want to share the fact that your program is going on. Is that correct or no?
No. We're on DLive at dlive.lrn.fm. We're also on Twitch at twitch.lrn.fm. You can just share our audio streams over at freetalklive.com. The front page of the website, in fact, during our live show turns into a player. So normally if you go there the other 21 hours a day, it just takes you to the front page of the site. But if you are there during 7 to 10 at night Eastern time, the front page becomes a live playback thing. So you could just share the show URL if you wanted.
Yeah. I've been using YouTube to share it. It seems to be a little bit easier for me anyway than the other share.
That's fine
option.
too. It's the least quality video stream that we offer. We have 3 different qualities. YouTube is the lowest of them, but it still doesn't look bad. It looks fine.
Yeah. The low quality comes in handy for low internet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Service.
Yep, that's true. If you've got limited internet, you still want video, then YouTube is going to be your best bet there.
Because I have found that Twitch is the hardest one to keep going. DLive is a little bit better, but still a little bit freezes a little bit.
Yep.
But YouTube never freezes on me.
Good to know.
Dave, what you were saying about if people would just all look to their left and look to the right and stand up simultaneously, let me tie that in with what I was saying the other day. Is that I used to have a horse that I could lead around without a rope because he thought there was a rope connected to his halter to his neck, but it wasn't there anymore because I had stopped using it long ago, but he still thought it was there. And if he only knew. And so that's really the same thing. If people only would take a look and see that the rope is not really there, they could walk away, and there's nothing that even the U.S. military could do about it because, frankly, half or 2/3 or 3/4 of the U.S. military would come along.
That's a great point. And, there's no rope. There's no rope, and there's a lot more of us than there are of them.
Right.
And it's that's a really good point.
Strength in numbers.
I mean, if people said no, I mean, it would be like it's like one guy versus like every 50,000, like one guy versus like 50,000 people. Meanwhile, that one guy is controlling those per 50,000 people, and people obey because, just like you said, they believe that there's a rope, but there is no rope.
I think that the typical ratio of police to average people is like 1 to 500, if I recall correctly. Now, some departments have 1.5 to 500, or like there's a range, but that's kind of like the typical. Some departments have less than 1 for 500, but that's your typical sort of average, I guess, that you see in the United States. But I don't think that factors in the military, all of the violent weight that the government could bring down upon you. So it's probably a little bit more than 1 to 500. It might be like 3 to 500, or maybe at worst 5 to 500 if you factor in like all the military or something. But yeah, I mean, the fact is there's more of us than there are of them. That's just a fact.
And it's funny, you think about, imagine like a giant, imagine this giant, 5,000 pound man, right? And there's this like little 1 pound little ant bossing him around, and he's obeying and he's doing it. And then at any moment he could just squash him. He could just be like, no, and just crush him. But, what a good analogy. I really like your rope analogy. Thank you.
David, anything else you want to share?
Yeah, well, I can save the other subject for another time, but to add on to this subject, I think that the numbers from the American Revolution are still good in that, there was 20-30% that were siding with the British and 20-30% that were actively, openly supporting the new Americans, and everybody else that remained, the 40 to 60%, they were just neutral, and they didn't matter. They didn't matter. Right. They were just there taking up space. And so I think, and those numbers are pretty much the same. And then that old thing about the 3%, out of that 20-30% that supported the new Americans, it was only like 3% of able-bodied men and, whatever women were actively fighting, actively resisting. It only took 3%, and that's pretty much true, I believe, still.
Yep, I think I'm right. I think I'm with you on that one, David. Thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate it. It really is true that a determined minority can make some very significant changes in life.
And the majority of people will just side with whoever they think is going to win.
It's true. If you want to join us here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. I had a story here about podcasting, and I thought it was going to be I think it's actually a pretty interesting piece, but I think it's a little bit too in-depth to start this late in the show. So coming up here, how about some good news about the most marijuana-friendly Congress in all of U.S. history, at least according to Forbes magazine. We can share that with you, and of course, you can share your thoughts with us. I do like getting a little bit of good news out there if I possibly can. As I said, this one comes from Forbes, where Tom Angel, who's a contributor, writes, with the House and Senate heading into a month-long August recess, it's a good time to take a look back at what lawmakers have accomplished so far this year when it comes to marijuana reform. It's unquestionable that the 116th Congress is the most cannabis-friendly Congress in history. 7 months into the session, there have already been 7 hearings on cannabis. A marijuana banking bill has passed a key committee, and the full House adopted a far-reaching amendment to block federal interference in state legalization laws. And those are just the highlights. Justin Strickall from NORML, that's the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, says, quote, Congress has never moved this far, this fast on marijuana policy, period. Representative Earl Blumenauer, who's from Oregon, has worked for decades to end marijuana prohibition, said that those, quote, long overdue efforts to reform our outdated cannabis laws are finally resonating in Congress. Well, it only took decades, but finally, they seem to be taking this issue seriously.
I kind of got a little problem with this.
All right.
And my thing is this. They say, legalizing, but they're really, they don't really mean that kind of legalize. You mean like I could grow it, I could sell it, I could buy it, I could.
Yeah, that's not what they mean.
Oh, not that kind of legal, Dave. No. You've got to still bribe the government, and
right.
And
got to get a permission slip.
That to me is still a major issue. Like, who are these guys?
State.
Yeah, who are these guys that can take away your natural born rights and then try to sell them back to you.
So you're right. The idea that you don't have the right to dig a hole in the ground, drop a seed in it, cover it up with some dirt, and wait. Like, that's what they're saying to you. You have to have a permission slip to do.
Like, dear Earth, can you hear me out there, Earth? Who are these guys that are trying to say they Earth to Earth? Who are these guys that are trying to say that we can't grow a natural plant that you provided here for us, but that you have to pay these goons, government goon, tyrannical people?
It's crazy.
I want freedom.
Yeah,
I want it.
Me too. More on the way here, though. Either way, I'm totally with you on this, Dave. I also agree that we need to just end prohibition and not have a legal structure built on top of this plant. Unfortunately, the politicians aren't likely to see it that way. So we'll tell you at least there's still a little bit of progress at the federal level, and we'll explain some of it coming up here. This is Free Talk Live. You can join us on the radio.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, you probably now realize it wasn't a good idea, and the financial strain it's putting on you and your family has you stressed, and you probably think there's no way out. This is Steve Sanchez, and you know I've been an advocate for hardworking Americans just like you for 27 years, and there's a way out of this financial nightmare, and my friends at Wesley Financial, the leading timeshare cancellations company in the country, can help you cancel your timeshare guaranteed. Being lied to, misled, and pressured into buying a timeshare doesn't have to be your story, but freedom of being out of it can be. I have a special free information kit that will give you the step-by-step process that Wesley Financial uses to get you out of your timeshare guaranteed. Call 1-800-501-6100. That's 1-800-501-6100, or visit stevesanchez.info. You don't have to have the financial nightmare of a timeshare any longer. Wesley Financial can help you get out guaranteed. Call 1-800-501-6100.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Blockit Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockitPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockitPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockitPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Are you a sneezer? If you're not, can you get close to one? I don't literally mean someone sneezing. Sneezer, as defined by marketing guru Seth Godin, is an opinion leader. When a sneezer mentions something, other people catch what Godin calls the idea virus. Seth Godin says some people are more likely to tell their friends about a great new idea. So identifying and courting sneezers is a key success factor for idea merchants. His book, Unleashing the Idea Virus, is the most downloaded ebook in history, and you can download the whole book free. That's how he's making his idea contagious. Click tips, tricks, and other stuff to help you cut through the clutter at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You may join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We have enough time for you if you jump on the lines now. With you tonight, it's Ian.
Silver Dave.
And don't forget, you can join us online anytime over at freetalklive.com. Yeah, you can. Right here in these remaining moments, we have enough time for you. In fact, there is somebody on the line on our Discord server. I can't quite read it. Sarah, I think, from New Mexico. Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, hello there.
I want to talk about the red light cameras.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sarah. Tell us about them.
Well, I think they're a good thing. And, yeah.
This was not a well-planned call, was it? I think they're a good thing, and yeah.
I really like red light cameras in the red light district. My bedroom.
Who is this really?
Hey, who are these guys?
Tax feeder.
Tax feeder.
Yum.
All right. So that was your attempt to do an impression of a long-lost caller now who has not called the show for 2 months, I think, or close to 2, not quite 2 months, but we hadn't heard from her since before we went to PorcFest.
Yeah, I miss Sarah. I wish she could come back. I don't know what's happening.
I don't know what happened either. I don't know if anybody out there knew what other shows that she called, because I know she was noteworthy for calling like a bunch of different shows. So I wonder if she's still calling any of those other shows, and if she's not, then I would say it's safe to say something bad might have happened to Sarah. Maybe you know,
auto accident, some kind of pedestrian.
They had to ban these cars. They kill a lot of people.
Thanks for the call tonight, man. Anything else you want to share?
No, that's all.
All right, appreciate it.
Good, you feel better now.
There you go. Thank you. That's how you do it. You get on our Discord server there over at discord.lrn.fm where the conversation continues. There's people in there chatting every single day. It's pretty much around the clock, different chat rooms in which you can interact with other Free Talk Live listeners. Head over there to discord.lrn.fm. So yeah, whether we'll ever hear from Sarah, the real Sarah in New Mexico again, is a good question. I don't know. Sometimes callers come and then they go, and then you never hear from them again. Sad stuff. But we move on because we've got stuff to talk about. Like good news at the federal level. This is from Forbes.com. It's saying here that this Congress is the most marijuana-friendly Congress in all of history, which probably isn't a very high bar to reach, but nonetheless.
Can I add that I don't think that they're marijuana-friendly. I think that they just found a way to make money on letting people have some slight little bit more freedom, but also like only letting certain people be allowed to sell it to them.
That's right.
At still exorbitant prices. Because now that it's becoming more legalized. Has anyone noticed the price hasn't really changed on this stuff?
You're wrong about that. So because of legalization, I would say, we've seen a price drop over the last decade plus. Prices have come down dramatically.
Maybe.
I've seen so back in the late 1990s, I'm pretty familiar with the people that have bought and sold marijuana. I've known a lot of them in my time. But back in the late 90s, you could get You could get a bag of mid-grade cannabis. And now mids back then would have been some seeds. There'd be some seeds in the buds. But it would be generally a decent quality of a bud. Sometimes they were pressed, a little compressed, but not flattened. And sometimes they were like full, buddy buds. They looked nice. So there's kind of like a range of mids. But you might pay like $60 for a quarter ounce of mid grades. You can get that level of quality these days. Actually, you can't even get that level of quality. You can get like that same kind of plant, but no seeds, because they've gotten rid of seeds. I haven't seen seeds in cannabis in years. I don't remember. It must have been a decade ago the last time I saw seeds in cannabis. So maybe there are still some markets around the country where you can get seedy cannabis, but at least in New England, I haven't seen it. And so you can get the same quality smoke with fewer seeds or no seeds for half the price. Now you can do it for $30 instead of $60. The prices have come down across the board, and these are black market prices that I'm talking about here, because we don't have a legal marketplace here in New Hampshire. Now, to be fair, you can actually compare the black market to the legal market in Massachusetts, and it's actually more expensive on the legal market in Massachusetts.
Well, and to me, I feel like the prices of the black market are like thousands of percent higher than it would be like for, like the price of weed compared to the price of gold or silver.
Mm-hmm.
Silver is a probably better example because silver is worth like $1 a gram versus weed is obviously a lot more.
Could be
per
$20
gram.
a gram.
So but silver should be much more rare than weed.
Sure.
So I feel like the
is.
prices, so I feel like the prices still don't reflect
you're
a
right.
true free market price for
Not at all.
farmed crop that you could grow a giant field of if it was like really legal, like real legal, not just this like pseudo legal like they've got.
No, you're right. They don't reflect true freedom.
But I guess I see your
point. But the increased
The
supply
prices
has
have
brought the prices
gone-
down.
Yeah, so the prices have come down.
Dave, it used to be that you had to, if you wanted to get a bulk amount of cannabis, you had to move it across the southern border, right? You had to there had to be a smuggling operation.
Man, my bum hurts. I just took this quarter pound through Connecticut.
But yeah, you'd want to put in, bricks of marijuana into some sort of vehicle and travel it across the border. Now there's so much being grown in the legal states like Oregon and Colorado and now like 8 other states. I think it's 8 or 9 states that have it legal. There's just so much supply. One of the problems is that because the federal government won't allow marijuana to be sold or distributed, even though it's legal in, say, Oregon, the companies that grow it in Oregon cannot ship it outside of Oregon. They can only sell it there in Oregon. So that's one of the reasons why the prices are higher than what they should be, because they should be able to trade in between Oregon and Colorado and Oregon and California and Nevada. And so if
like
products...
you mean like a free market?
Yeah, or even a free-ish market.
Free-ish?
Even if it was regulated, just being able to trade across borders would increase the number of potential buyers and make it so a lot of the product
competition.
Can move. Yeah.
So one farm can do it for less. Yeah.
Correct. But for now, if a farm has an excess, they have to sell it within that state. Or if they're careful, they can shove some of it out the back door illegally into the black market, which is, in my opinion, why you see black market prices dropping, because there's this, they have their ways, right? Like even though the government has a fairly restrictive system on top of these growers, like they have to tag the plants, they have to track the plants, they have to know where they are at all times, they have to have inventory. It's ridiculous. They still have ways of, okay, if you're clipping the buds off, just clip one bud out of 10 and put it in this bucket over here, and that bucket's going to go out the back door. We're going to, sell that on the black market, make a little bit of extra money, and that stuff ends up going all around the country into markets where it is still illegal, but that's brought the prices down. Here's a couple more highlights from this story. In June, the House of Representatives voted 267 to 165 to approve a measure for the first time that prevents the Department of Justice from spending money to intervene in the implementation of state and territory marijuana policies. The body also approved, in an uncontested voice vote, a similar measure shielding the cannabis laws of Indian tribes, as well as another adding the U.S. Virgin Islands to an existing law covering local marijuana or medical marijuana programs. An additional amendment that the House tacked on to the same bill directs the Food and Drug Administration to establish a process for regulating CBD in foods and dietary supplements. Also, separate appropriations legislation that cleared the House in June contained language upon introduction to prohibit the Treasury Department from punishing banks for maintaining accounts for state legal cannabis businesses. Now, this would be a big deal if this goes through. Now, I don't know what the current status is, and apparently the Senate has not yet taken up versions of these different bills. So none of these things are a done deal at this point. But the fact that they had they passed, at least initially, this removal of restrictions from banks being able to hold an account for a cannabis business, because that's been one of the most difficult struggles for a lot of these businesses. Even when they've jumped through all the stupid government hoops that they have to jump through to be able to buy or sell or grow marijuana, they then run into the problem of, okay, now we got all this money from the marijuana sales, but we don't know what to do with it because no bank will actually open a bank account for us, because the banks are afraid of the federal government coming in. So if they can change that rule to leave banks alone who are doing business with marijuana businesses, that'll help a lot of them out quite a bit. So, these are little steps in the right direction, but I'm glad to see some progress in this area. Hey, you can check us out online anytime you want. Join the fun over on our Discord server at discord.lrn.fm, and don't forget to download archives and join the AMP program at freetalklive.com. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a nice day, everybody.
Do you like going to your job every day? If you have your own business, can you set your own schedule and take long vacations whenever you want? Are you free to do whatever you want in your dating or sex life? Probably not. There's another way to live. I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income, location-independent businesses, and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,473, silver at $16.48, and Bitcoin is trading around $11,641. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, U.S. stocks tumbled Monday on the heels of news that China is devaluing its currency in response to President Donald Trump's tariff war. The Dow Jones Industrial Average posted a loss of 767 points by the close of business, as world markets also fell to the news that the Chinese yuan was reduced to its lowest valuation in a decade. The move came after Trump announced tariffs last week on $300 billion in Chinese goods. According to a report from NPR, the decline makes Chinese imports in the United States less expensive, thus making U.S. companies less competitive. It also lowers profits for U.S. companies that do business in China. Trump took to Twitter to vent his frustrations on Monday, saying, quote, "China dropped the price of their currency to an almost historic low. It's called currency manipulation. Are you listening, Federal Reserve? This is a major violation which will greatly weaken China over time." End quote. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Millions of Americans across the Midwest this summer are being subjected to surveillance from above as the Pentagon experiments with the use of surveillance radars attached to high-altitude balloons. As The Guardian reported on Friday, the defense and aerospace contractor Sierra Nevada Corporation was authorized by the Federal Communications Commission to send up to 25 balloons across 6 states to track vehicles. U.S. Southern Command commissioned the project for the stated purpose of creating a persistent surveillance system to deter drug traffickers and perceived homeland security threats. Activist Post reports that civil liberties advocates are distressed at the newly reported project, which the Sierra Nevada Corporation obtained a license to begin on July 12th and end September 1st. The balloons are being sent from South Dakota through portions of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri, and Illinois. Their high-tech radars are able to simultaneously track many vehicles at once on a 25-mile swath beneath the balloon. National Security Agency whistleblower Edward Snowden wants to fight back against corporate surveillance by Instagram and his parent company Facebook, as well as YouTube, which is owned by Google. Activist Post reports that in a tweet rant posted on Twitter, Snowden expressed that both social media giants, owned by Mark Zuckerberg, were involved in spying on their users, as well as YouTube. Snowden also announced that he has created new accounts on the platforms and that he will explain how the sites spy on users. He added that he would, quote, explain methods to limit how much they know about you, end quote, if you choose to use them. Earlier, Snowden announced a new forthcoming memoir called Permanent Record, due out in September, which will tell all of his secrets. Snowden has also released a YouTube ad for the book. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Shortly after being fired from his coding position at a downsizing tech firm, 34-year-old Irvine native Sam Morrison told reporters Monday that he believed he had finally achieved the sort of work-life balance for which he has long strived.
Ever since I got fired, it just seems like my whole entire routine is just clicking. I go for jogs in the afternoon, spend nights with my wife and kid. I'm even cooking more. Everything just feels right.
Morrison, who since his termination has found time to pick up reading again, eat a healthy diet, and sleep more than 5 hours a night, noted that his unemployment has allowed him to find a level of harmony in his personal life that he never before thought possible.
For a while there, I thought that I was going to spend the rest of my life constantly worrying about getting to the office on time and pleasing my boss. Outside of the late payments on the house, the mounting credit card debt, the rapidly depleting savings, my life is essentially stress-free. I honestly couldn't be happier.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember.
Unafeared here on Declare Your Independence. Me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the BEAU default studios of Phoenix of the Nash, PhoenixPhoenix.com. That's not bad. Okay, Bill Ottman was supposed to be on. He just emailed Donna. He's plane travel, Colorado, couldn't something. So she's rescheduling. Do you have a date to... So anyway, she's working on that with Bill. That really sucks. I was really looking forward to talking to Bill Ottman. Bill Ottman is the owner of Minds. He's been on a few times. And I bet you, Minds.com is getting busy, or at least they're hoping to, this Facebook thing. They're social media, freedom-oriented kind of thing, but they still subjected to. Our policy is not to deplatform, so we'll see how that's going. Since last time that we talked, we were at the peak of this, our policy thing with everybody else. So I'm really interested to see how this is going. And so something wasn't ready, or he wasn't ready, or he just, messed up on the schedule to something. So we're going to go and get that all taken care of and get him back on, because I want to talk about that. We got Trump report in the third hour, so we'll get that. If I don't have a guest second hour, see if Frank wants to come on early. Just let him have that option, because he'll go late anyway. And tell him to come in. Is he going to do Zoom or in studio? He waits till the last minute. Yeah, tell him all day, man. Get his butt in here, and we'll have some fun. Bill Ottman. Founder and CEO. Bill is driving force behind the vision, design, and creation of Minds. He is editor of multiple disruptive media organizations with millions of followers, including Alternative World News Network, Exposing the Truth, and Minds.com. He is also a writer, musician, artist, and freedom of information activist. Yep, had lots of questions and see where things are going. This is, I'm sure he's a busy boy, too. So I'll have him get rescheduled. Got a call from a friend of mine in Manila. It reminded me, because here it says something about the Manila Principles on Intermediary Liability. I have no idea what that is. Bill Ottman will tell us about it. But a friend of mine with Stepwise, they're a blockchain company. He's been 6 months in the Philippines, wheeling and dealing. And he's coming back this week. So next week, their company, I've met with them, several times, and a lot of them are friends from the Levolution and everything. And they're going, ooh, there's some business opportunities, things going on in the Philippines. And I tell you, one of the big things is China. So the South China Sea, a lot of that is, I think that's claimed by the Philippines or something. So there's a little, what are you going to do about it? We got a sand dredge, what are you going to do? So I'm interested in the Philippines. That they have, he was saying, God, like 7,000 islands. I mean, some ridiculous amount of, everybody gets an island. And just in the last couple of years, land prices has tripled. And it was just, it was like for nothing. Here's a couple $1,000. I got 10 acres on the white beach front of Scuba. And I go, I vote that. Let's do that. Blockchain is going to be really beneficial in the ownership of these islands. What the problem in the Philippines, a lot of these guys have, is they don't have like a county recorder or one that you can trust or not corrupt or something. And who owns what? And property rights are a big thing. You want to talk about capitalism or leveraging or anything doing into the future of you can build and do and make and create and own and all that. And, of course, then they want to tax it and all that kind of stuff. But to have ownership. And that was one thing that a lot of these economists have done. I remember in Chile they did, it was the economists there that